Welcome to the midnight sermon. It's quite short tonight. Luke's Gospel gives us an account of the birth of Jesus. It's quite simple, considering the fuss everyone makes about Christmas. Both of the Gospels that tell the story of Jesus are remarkably short. About the time Caesar Augustus ordered a census to be taken throughout the empire. This is the first census when Quirinius was governor of Syria. There's no historical evidence for this, by the way. Just throw that in there for those of you that either like or dislike that kind of thing. Everyone had travelled to their own ancestral hometown to be accounted for. So Joseph went from the Galilean town of Nazareth to Bethlehem in Judah, David's town, for the census. As a descendant of David, he had to go there. He went with Mary, his fiancée, who was pregnant. And if you read Luke chapter 1, you'll see more information on that, including Mary's Magnificat. While they were there, the time came for her to give birth. She gave birth to a son, her firstborn. She wrapped him in a blanket and laid him in a manger because there was no room in the hostel. I'm struck whenever I hear the Christmas story about the power of incarnation. And as we've thought in my brick church about some of the songs that lead up to Christmas, and the song really that is the life of Jesus, where he showed us how to live. It wasn't some book that suddenly arrived, some lump of stone that landed on the earth with some carvings in it that says, do this, don't do that, 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 don't do that. Jesus just came and did it. How to live. And more than that, he didn't just show us how to live, he showed us that we are loved. He showed us that God is with us. So once you put your Sunday school theology to one side, it starts to make sense. If you don't put your Sunday school theology to one side, it doesn't make any sense at all. Well, what about this and what about that and what about that? I have people who love me. Bad things still happen. But the sign that they love me isn't that bad things happen. I've got friends who love me who, in some respects, are pretty screwed up. And they do things that hurt me. And I'm pretty certain I do things that hurt others. But I don't say, well, you don't love me then, or you don't exist then. So once you get beyond the Sunday school, which is what I would call advanced spirituality, you start thinking, okay, that's all to one side. God is here, and he does love me. And stuff happens, but God's love of me is not affected by that. Jesus showed us how to live, that we are loved, and that God is with us. And I'm wrapping it up now. See, I said it was going to be a short one. You are a gift from God. Your life and who you are and all you have. And the best gift you can give to others is yourself. To love them, to help them, just as God did for us. Do you see? He didn't just say, do this, do that. Don't do this, don't do that. He said, this is how you do it. This is what you do. This is what incarnation is. This is what Christmas is really about. Jesus is God incarnate. The divine has become human. The divine has lived human lives. God has done his bit. When we say, well, where is God? He's here. He's been here in Jesus. And now it's up to us to live it, to do our bit, for us to live the divine. Now, I've invented a word for this. It's copyrighted, this is, by the way, so don't steal it. When we talk about the divine become human, we call it incarnation. And I'm a massive fan of incarnational theology. God become human. This is why I follow Jesus. Why don't follow? I like some of the other understandings. I like some of the other faiths and some of their traditions and beliefs. But none of them really have the Jesus that I'm interested in. And you could argue, well, it's not about what you're interested in. No, it's not, but, because most of the other world faiths would recognise the power of Jesus. Islam does. Hinduism does. So I assume Sikhism does. I think Judaism generally accept Jesus as a prophetic figure. But Christianity, Jesus is God. That, for me, is the clincher. Because God is with us. That's incarnation. But the incarnation of Christ, I believe, calls for a response from us. And it's not to go to church or be squeaky clean or, behave yourself or, all those other things that we associate with Christianity, or be an idiot in your attitudes to other people. Become intolerant of everyone who's not like you. That's not the response that it demands. The response it demands is this new word I've invented, I hope. And I call it, just as a juxtaposition to incarnation, Indeification. What do you think about that? In deification, we now express who and what God is. And if you want to say it in ways that sound slightly heretical, we become divine. God calls for a response, I think, with the message of Christmas. And it's not obedience or conformity or going to church. It's to reflect God's divine nature, to be Christ to others, to live a life of grace and hope and defiance, of joy and of love. Do that, and you're doing all right. Find ways to keep doing that, and find people who help you to do that. And then you will have found the gift and the message of Christmas. Here's a great part of the Bible that I'm a big fan of. Some of it's a bit weird. But in the Gospel of John, that tells the great one of the retellings of the great story of the life of Jesus. The life light was the real thing. Every person entering life he brings into light. He was in the world, and the world was there through him, yet the world didn't notice. He came to his own people, but they didn't want him. But whoever did want him, who believed who he was, who he claimed, and who he would do what he said, he made to be their true selves, their child of God's selves, and they are the God begotten. The Word became flesh and blood and moved into the neighbourhood. We saw the glory of God with our own eyes, the one-of-a-kind glory, like Father, like Son, generous inside and out, true from start to finish. Indeify yourself. Fill up with God. Become like God, like Christ, and share that message of Christmas. God is with us. Amen.